great day here in Elmhurst. It's great to have everybody come out. What a show of appreciation here. It's a beautiful day and a bunch of great people here, so we'll make this quick. My name is Feldspar. I'm the Park Board Director, and would like to welcome you here to the grand opening celebration of the new Butterfield Park Playground for Everybody. I'd like to introduce my fellow board commissioners. To my right here, Carolyn Ubriaco, Mary Keys, Doug Ennis, and Kevin Graff. And two of our other fellow commissioners weren't able to join us, Anthony Pelosi and Patricia Morissette-Moll. And on their behalf, we'd like to present to you this park today. So thank you for joining us in this celebration. The Park District obtained this property way back in 1930, which is actually pretty incredible. You know, you think about what was in Elmhurst. This was really on the south end of town and probably wasn't considered much of Elmhurst at that point. And while it was named after the road that is on the south end here of town, Butterfield, the land really wasn't developed until 1958. In 1960, the athletic field was put out here with the first lights in 1961. I can remember playing Pop Warner football back there in the 60s, and it was quite a deal to have lights and a football field in those days. And in 1961, a shelter and a service building were built right over here, and we had some fun ice skating and a lot of different things in the park in those days. And I like to comment and joke a little bit. My favorite thing back here was the old sewer pipe that we used to have back here that we used to play in. And imagination would run wild in those days. So fun things. We've come a long way from sewer pipes, hopefully. You know, the tennis courts were constructed in 1965 and lighting added in 1961. And over the years, two major other expansions were added to the park in 1980 and 81 when we bought some additional property up north. And that additional development occurred in 83 with picnic areas, playgrounds, soccer fields, tennis courts, 4 baseball diamonds, one of which is through a partnership with the Elmhurst College Blue Jays, as you would notice up here with the lights. The playground was then rebuilt in a major way in July 1998, and here we are today, 18 years later, ready to celebrate the grand opening of Butterfield Park and the playground for everybody. The playground that embraces the differences of our community and the togetherness of our community to play together. And one thing I'd like to make a note on a side note, I've been involved in the Park District for about 10 years. I'm really proud of how the community and the Park District have worked with our 18 major parks that we have. Every year we redevelop one of those parks on a rotation of 18 years, and we do that in this way that you see here today without taxes increased in the community. That's pretty incredible that we're able to do these kinds of things and support the community with fun stuff like this. So I'm real proud to be part of this organization and a community that allows that kind of thing to take place. So, you know, with that said, I'd like to thank you all for joining us. And more importantly, we'll keep moving, and I'll pass it on to our Executive Director, Jim Rogers, for additional comments. So thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Vince. And as he said, welcome everyone to the new Butterfield Park and the playground for everyone. The improvements you see today in Butterfield Park demonstrate the district's continued commitment to improve and update your parks and amenities. This $1.6 million project includes new tennis courts and lighting, new baseball field backstops and benches in ball fields 2, 3, and 4, new and expanded walking paths throughout the park, including the first permeable paver paths in Elmhurst in the district, improvements in accessibility, and expansion and improvement of the parking lot. In addition, there are many hidden improvements that you may or may not see with your eyes, such as improved drainage with underground drains beneath the ball fields and tennis courts, and regrading throughout the park to improve drainage, as well as the construction of a detention basin just past the tennis courts. Many of these improvements were first identified as needs a number of years ago in district planning documents, and we are excited today, as Commissioner Spaeth mentioned, that sound financial planning and vision from the Park Board have made them a reality today without the need, as he said, to increase taxes. You might notice as you make your way around the park that there are some finishing touches that still need to be remain. Like we've got to finish up grading out some of the dirt, we've got some grass seed to plant, and the ball fields obviously will need some work before next spring, but don't worry, we'll have them in tip-top shape for play next year. I'd even like to go, just to encourage some applause, I'd even go so far as to say they might be good enough for a certain championship team in Chicago to come out and play on next year as well. See, I did that with a laugh. You also may notice our tennis courts. The tennis courts will also have to be color-coded in the spring, where they'll change from black to green. We did paint some lines on them just so we get an idea of what they'll be like, but if it weren't for this beautiful weather today, our tennis courts would probably already be closed for the season, so we're just so excited that it turned out to be such a nice day. Public meetings were held in 2014 and 2015 that a number of you probably participated in, and staff began working with engineers to prepare a master plan for the park redevelopment. And based on that neighbors' feedback, staff also took the opportunity, working with the park board, to revise our user policies and practices at Butterfield Park to ensure that it meets the needs of both park users as well as those of you who live here in proximity to it. The final master plan was approved by the park board this past January, and construction began just after the 4th of July. We are also pleased that the district received a $400,000 open space and land acquisition and development matching grant from the Illinois Department of Natural Resources to help offset the costs of the project, and we thank our state legislators for their support. But in addition to the overall park improvements, as has been noted and as many of you have already enjoyed, we're standing in front of today the entranceway to the new playground for everyone. This is the first fully inclusive universal playground in Elmhurst and one of the first in DuPage County. As a district, we plan to budget approximately $350,000 each year to replace one of the 18 playgrounds in our system. And this year, with the help and inspiration from Special Kids Day and the People for Elmhurst Parks Foundation, a vision for a different kind of playground emerged, and the plans for a 100% accessible playground for children with and without disabilities began. Today, thanks to many of you, that vision has been realized. This $600,000 playground would not have been built without the support of many individuals, community groups, and businesses in the community. Following the district's initial commitment of $350,000, an additional $250,000 was raised through private donations, and many, if not most of you gathered here today answered that call. And I'd like to just mention a few of our most significant donors. Please join me in saying thank you to our founding partners, the Kiwanis Club of Elmhurst and the Elmhurst Children's Assistance Foundation, our presenting partner, Kickoff for Kids, and our supporting partners. I've got a list here: the Elmhurst Lions Club, the Elmhurst JCs, the Elmhurst Garden Club, the Elmhurst Rotary Club, Mobility Works, and the Andy Stelzner Fund of the DuPage Foundation. The partners I mentioned, as long as a number of others, are recognized throughout different pieces and parts of the playground. Finally, there are a few other thank yous I'd like to give. First, I'd like to thank the engineering firm who was responsible for putting together the design of this plan, B3 Engineering. I'd also like to thank the contractors responsible for what you see here in front of you and throughout the park. In the park redevelopment, that was L&R Construction, and the Playground for Everyone was built by Hacienda Landscaping. And in addition, I'd like to thank a number of our staff here at the Park District. Many staff in positions throughout the district contributed to this project over the course of a number of years, including today's event. There are a few who I'd like to note particularly who are important to the construction of the project, and those would be Angela Ferrantino, our Director of Parks and Facilities, and Miranda Lovato, our Landscape Architect. I'd also like to recognize Ginger Wade, who is our Director of Marketing Communications, for her work and all of the fundraising that took place and in working with our partners for fundraising and with the people for Elmhurst Parks. And lastly, I'd like to thank the neighbors of Butterfield Park. There are many of you here today. I'd like to thank you for your patience during the project, and also thank you for keeping the site safe. I know it was difficult, but I got very, very few reports of neighbors sneaking around and in and through the park. I won't ask for a show of hands for those of you who did sneak in or those who stayed out, but we appreciate it. It was a very safe site, excuse me. Again, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us today. What's going to happen next then, and kids, listen very carefully here. So the park board in just a minute is going to cut the ribbon. I'm going to ask you to wait for just a minute after they cut the ribbon because our photographer wants to get your picture when you run in. So the park board will cut the ribbon, and then after they do that, just wait for him to run around, and then I'll give you the big sign and you can run it, okay? So everybody promise me you'll wait, stay on the red, okay? Back up a little bit to the red. And yeah, I'll give you a countdown after the park board is done, okay? So first we're going to cut the ribbon. There you go, sir. Everybody